rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be back. It's been a few weeks. All right. Mr. Summers, will you do attendance?
Certainly. President Reese,
Present.
Vice President McDonough,
Here.
Secretary Summers here, Treasury Hanser,
Present.
Trustee Schultz,
Here.
Trustee Schaefer,
Here.
and Trustee Whitney. Here. All present.
Great. Any items to change the board agenda? None.
I do have a request. I would like to make a couple comments, and I would like to do it prior to closed session if possible, while everyone's still here. Would that be okay with you?
Yep.
Great.
Any objections to that, guys? No? Okay. All right. Item number 3, presentation of grant, Williams and Company Financial Services and Pam Beal.
Good evening. I'd like to present Joe Bonnet. He's here from Williams and Company with a big check.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Bonnet, and I'm with Williams Company Financial Services. We are one of your 403D 457 providers in here. A little bit about this. Back in February, it is our 25th anniversary in business. So we decided to give away it's our $1,000 donations. And so I nominated Oxford, of course, and Dr. Markovich filled out a wonderful response for us, and lo and behold, you guys got it. We sent it out statewide, and we're really, really happy that Oxford is one of the ones to receive this. So with that, Pam, on behalf of Williams and Company, I'd like to present you with this check for $1,000 for the emotionally impaired program, DK to 5.
Anita Concha Collins did fill out that application. Credit for credit is due.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Yes. All right. Item number 4 is our school presentations. We're going to start with Oxford Early Learning Center and Rob.
Hi everyone, thank you for allowing me to present tonight. So I'm the director of the Oxford Early Learning Center, and what that means is I oversee all of the licensed educational childcare programs for the school district, tuition and grant funded. We're self-supporting in those 2 ways. We have infants, toddlers, preschool, and school age. Currently, 17 classrooms throughout 6 buildings, 43 staff members, and 442 students. So we are busy and spread out all over the district. Oops, sorry. So I decided to focus on the quality survey results from last spring, and we had staff that took the survey. Unfortunately, there were only 10, but it's okay because those 10 comments are very valuable and important information. So synopsis is there's 3 different sections, students, staff, and families. We talked about reducing staff turnover, giving families opportunities to volunteer, collaborating, having the staff being able to collaborate within the age group, and professional training that is relevant to them. And we need to always keep in the forefront that we are the first education experience for many of these children. We want to realize figure out how to retain teachers and provide them all with all of the appropriate safety training district-wide, and then also offer some parent education. Oh, I keep going back, sorry. So, like I said, 3 areas of focus. And our first area was students. Our students are engaged in the high school curriculum, infants, toddlers, and preschool. It allows them to be active learners throughout the day. They participate in a consistent routine that includes all these various components. It provides opportunities through the day that give them choices. Allows them to be risk takers and problem solvers while they make connections. This plaque is hanging in our hallway, and it says choose, act, and reflect, and this is pretty much what the kids learn to do all day, every day. Especially during their work time, which is playtime. They make a plan, and then they go and do that plan, and then at the end, after they've cleaned up, then they gather back and recall and talk about what they've done, so reflect on their actions. So I wanted to share a video here. This is our Todd 2 classroom during their reading time, and this is a part of the second step curriculum. We've adopted it in all of our classrooms, and then it leads right into the kindergarten and elementary grades. So every one of my classrooms uses a certain components of it. So these little friends. The amazing thing with that is with the little guy at the gun, he joined us a couple summers ago and he cried every single day, almost all day. And then with the consistency and the routine and the structure that's provided, he's grown so much, and that's the amazing thing. So then I've got some pictures here, and all these pictures are just a representation of all of the learning that occurs. This one right here, the kids are working at their small group, pounding golf tees into pumpkins, and you can see they have all their safety equipment on and the tools. It's very important. Outside time is a very important part of our day. As soon as I'm always going around, who's going outside? When are you going outside? You know, we have assigned times, but then the teachers like to take everything outside. And then these pictures also, here's a small group where they're learning to stack. This is our younger toddler classroom. He's also learning to stack. Very important concepts. These kids are talking about, they're grilling things out. That's a play grill, so they're sharing that. And then there's some literacy with some letter writing and words. And then I just love these pictures, the imagination that is happening right here with the tea party, and they built their house, and now they're conversing. And then we have sand tables, exploration centers in every classroom, and there's sand, and they're focused on that. And then reading, just, it's awesome. You know, coming out of Reading Month, we had so many wonderful partnerships with reading with parents and kids, and so a lot of exposure. So moving on to staff, the comments about staff were mainly focused on retention and professional development. So I worked over the past several years with HR and finance to create a competitive rate of pay. Our staff members are also offered health, dental, and vision insurance, life insurance and retirement as district employees, and then paid personal days off, including weather-related days, which we were able to add this year, which they all really appreciated. Professional learning, our staff through licensing, childcare licensing, and also Great Start to Quality guidelines, we have to have 24 hours of training every year, and all of that training is paid training. It's either virtual, we have some online platforms that we're able to use, or it's in person, which in person is quite challenging sometimes because we're open from 6 to 6. So some of that training has to be 6:30 to 8, or we have to get very creative. And then we've also moved towards a lot of collaboration meetings. Every other month we either meet as a whole staff or in like groups, which means all the infant toddler teachers get together, all the preschool staff, all the extended day staff. We've provided opportunities to attend early childhood conferences throughout the state. And then as part of district training, we've all gone through threat assessment awareness and safety training. We also participate in all the safety drills as part of at OELC, we're part of OES's schedule. So whenever, today there was a fire drill, so it's always great fun to see all the babies put in the cribs, pushed out onto the playground, and making sure all the toddlers are in place. So we've got a good system down. ALICE training or ALICE drills are the most challenging for us because you have to make sure it's developmentally appropriate, right? So what it looks like at the high school looks different for us. So it's more about teacher knowledge and then students understanding that you always listen to your teachers during this time. And we've also, as part of the You Matter initiative, we've created a wellness committee. This year, just a few things, notes of acknowledgement, check-ins all the time, every day. I go around making sure, how are you? We've done some surveys, some online surveys to try to gauge the feeling of everybody. We've had some luncheons, off-site gatherings. We just finished Faith Appreciation, and we had a wonderful week, spoiled every single day, realized that food is the way to our hearts. But that was all sponsored by OELC families, a parent committee, sent out communication to every OELC parents, infants through school age, and they all worked together to provide us with a great week, so that was fun. And then we also did Teacher and Support Person of the Year. Our Teacher of the Year was Sarah Debo. She's our infant teacher. And then our Support Person of the Year was Isabel Abraham, Miss Kelly's daughter. She's an extended day teacher over at Clear Lake. So in the way we did that, the staff nominated, and then I kind of chose from them. So kind of both things. So then moving on to families, the survey indicated comments about more volunteering opportunities and also educational events. So we've, to start the year, we have an open house, curriculum night, we have parent-teacher conferences, and then we worked this year through the Parent University. We offered 2 programs that were very successful. In the fall, we had Love and Logic. It's a 6-part series, and we partnered with Oxford Addison Youth Association, Assistance Program, yeah, that's what it is. And so they brought in the presenter and we offered childcare and dinner, so they paid for a portion, we paid for a portion. We had about 12 to 15 families every time. I think the original registration was about 20, and then kind of fell off from there just slightly. But the parents who attended just had amazing things to say. They wanted more and more and more. And then it was our staff members who worked in the evenings after they worked throughout the day to take care of the kids. And then we most recently had a Make It Take It workshop, which we had about 30 families attend that. It was a preschool child and 1 grown-up, because sometimes when you have preschool events, you have 10 grown-ups that come, so we really had to specify just 1. And then 4 teachers helped with that, and they kind of rotated math, literacy, science, and a sensory activity. So that was also very successful. So I'm looking forward to planning some more for next year. When you start making lists, you realize that, wow, we do have a lot of volunteer opportunities for families. Various things, donations, chaperones on field trips. We go to the library for story time, and some parents join us there. Nature walks, playing games, making Play-Doh. March's Reading Month is really the big one where we have a lot of families come in for our mystery readers, so that's always great fun. The kids try to guess who is coming in. The pictures show 2 different, partnerships. Obviously, we're connected to OES, so during March's Reading Month, each classroom partnered with a classroom at OES, and so the first picture shows some of the kids down reading stories with the little ones, which they love. They're like, when can we do this again? So I'd like to build on that in the future. And then the second picture here, this is a OHS robotics team. They come in and they do activities with the kids during our summer camp program. Once or twice a week they'll come in, and again, the kids have a ball with that. And then we also have family events. In the fall we get trunk or treats. End of the year we do an event at Urban Air, kind of rent out the whole place for a few hours, and infants, toddler, preschoolers, and their families can come and jump as long as they want to. And then we most recently had our art show, which was very successful, our 2nd annual. It kind of came about as, some of the teachers were interested in it, so each classroom, infants through preschool, either chose a book or an artist to study, and then they created projects from that. And the one picture shows infants. This is the infants room, and then this is one of our preschool rooms, our family rooms. And then we partnered with the library. So it was a wonderful event. We get a great turnout, and the kids all feel so proud and accomplished after that. Oops. And I have one last video of our.
Good morning, please, and jump, jump, jump. Good morning, little kids, jump around, jump around. Good morning, little kids, jump, jump, jump. Good morning, Kingston, jump around, jump around. Good morning, Kingston, jump around, jump around. Good morning, jump around, jump around. Good morning, Alina, jump, jump, jump. Everybody jump around, jump around. Good morning, everybody jump, jump, jump.
So that, again, it just shows their reading time. That's how they start their day before they get into the next part of their day they're learning. So thank you very much. You're all very welcome to come and visit anytime. Any questions?
Any questions?
That's great.
It was a wonderful presentation. We love learning about the little kids.
Thank you.
Mary?
I'd like to get up and jump around. I think I should start my day at work like that tomorrow. I'll see what my boss says. That's fantastic. We do sing. Thank you so much for the presentation. I loved the art show. I got to go to the art show this year, and it was just amazing. It was amazing that you had something from all of the students, from for all ages. It was really interesting to see how they were connecting with the artists, they were doing different, as you were saying, like they had I can't think of the artist's name, but it's like the Partridge Family painting where you have all the blocks of color and the lines. They had a class that did something like that. They had another one that did a take on Andy Warhol art. It was just so great to see the little kids connected with artists. It's great to see that it's not like, preschool's not like it was when I was a kid. So thank you very much, and thanks for sharing all this.
You're welcome.
Thank you, that was excellent. I really loved how you took your staff feedback and turned it into action. That was really great, and I just wanted to make note that your parent university classes, I've heard nothing but rave reviews about, so I can't wait to see what you do next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ann.
You're welcome.
All right. Item number 5 on the agenda is scheduled public comment. We had none ahead of time. Number 6 on the agenda is the consent agenda. You can see that it includes the minutes from our April 23rd regular meeting, human resource updates, including a resume, and then hiring recommendations. So once someone wants to make a motion. Colleen?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a support? Amanda? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item number 7, the superintendent's report. Dr. Markovich.
Sure. We're going to take you now from infants and preschool all the way to high school. And I am so excited to have you meet a favorite group of mine. I've gotten to know the people sitting out there very well this year, and they've been not only real fun for me, but they've taught me a lot about what we had to think about before we moved an entire group of people into Drainer Road property. And I'm very pleased that they're going to be able to present to you. This is the Student Advisory Council that we established, Principal Superintendent Advisory Council. These are the folks who have really demonstrated leadership in moving that project ahead. And they are the first council that will be presenting to you. OVA will be presenting on the 28th, and the high school will be presenting on the 11th. And these folks picked a project that I think you're going to really appreciate. So I would like to invite Principal Aletha Van Loozen up with her crew, my favorite lunch buddies here, to introduce them and to begin the presentation. And thank you that so many of you came. When I asked how many would came, I only got one or two, but look, thank you.
So thank you very much for inviting us here, and I appreciate the opportunity to have my students speak. This is all their work, just to let you know. They researched and looked things up, and so we're excited to present. I am Mrs. Van Loosen, and I'm the principal. I just want to say one thing though, and she left, but we're going to pick up on that good morning jump up and down. I think it was great. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to loop back around so that Ryan can start us off.
My name is Ryan McVeigh.
My name is James Powell.
My name is Bishop Bismarck.
My name is Rafael Ocasio. My name is Sarah Plummer.
My name is Jose Castillo.
Thank you for the funding to buying activity equipment. We believe we can use this money for our kids in our free time and have activities to get our energy and have fun at school. It will allow us to pay better gym equipment at the school that we're about to go to. It will help us engage with each other and keep us off our phones that people have a hard time doing sometimes. Because we are a small school and we don't get fundraisers and events, sadly. So we are very grateful for what you guys have done today. One of the things that we were going to get is a guide ball pit, which is actually there's one here, I think. I don't remember, it's been so long since I did it. And as a student, we believe a guided ball pit will bring us some childhood memories, like I was saying, we used to play it all the time. The price of that would be like $1,000 to $2,000. We would use those $5,000 that we received. And the next thing we would be getting is tetherball, which Dan gave her. Tetherball will help us let us some stress and have fun in general. This piece of equipment was $110.
Alright, so something that we wanted was soccer goals. In Bridges, we already had a couple of students bring their own soccer balls and play in the hallways. And it would be fun to have nets and play outside. And it can help people work out with their legs and have more fun in general. The soccer balls are like $15 each, and then the nets are $200 each. And then wanted stuff for volleyballs too. We can use this. This is another way we can get energy out. It's a fun game that can keep students' energy up and can keep them active, and it's also a fun outdoor activity. Volleyball is volleyball. Volleyballs cost $20 each, and then the nets cost $60. And then we want basketball nets. A lot of kids enjoy playing basketball, and this will allow students to play together. And have fun. Hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to use this inside, but for now, it would be fun to have fun. And that's $250, I'm sorry.
We would also like team mesh shirts. Having these shirts will help organize with team playing activities. There's 2 colors with 12 total, 6 each color, $25. We would need 4 colors and 20 of each color. Kickball and baseball. This is needed equipment for the games we would play. This will allow us to go outside and be active instead of being inside all day playing on our cell phones. 12 baseballs for $20 and a kickball bat for $105. This pack has bases and items we can use for other games. Ladder toss. This is a more old-fashioned game. Some of the teachers enjoy playing with the students. $20 to $40 for full equipment. Dodgeball. This is another fun activity that we can play to get some energy out and have fun during free time. Dodgeball is $30 for a set of 6.
Thank you again. And do you have some questions for the group here?
I have a question. As far as for the Gaga ball pit, I guess it is a pit, will you be assembling it, or how do you know if you're paying for somebody to put it together, or are they gonna have volunteers, or?
Somebody puts it. I don't know, I think somebody puts it together, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Any questions? You guys did a really great job presenting, and we really appreciate you taking the time to come here. I know you already went to school all day, and it's towards the end of the school year when we're all itching to not be in the buildings anymore as much. So I really appreciate you coming out here and presenting to us, and I'm glad that we're able to help you get some equipment for your new facility.
I was also really proud of the fact that they all showed up, especially Bishop, because he worked all day. He's a senior, and so he will be graduating next week. And so he will. And so I'm really proud of him for coming after a hard day of work also.
Great job. Thank you. I think Mary had one little comment left too.
I did want to say, I wanted to thank all the students for being here and for doing their research and giving us the reasoning for the things that you're doing, you know, and how much money that you're going to be spending. So great work. Thank you very much.
And if that thing works about keeping off your phones, let me know. I got a couple of kids that are upcoming to high school soon. Great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Continuing, I'd also like to have Mr. Barlas present to you. We have some graduates. Are any of them with us, Mr. Barlas? No, they weren't able to be with us, but I would like to recognize them in the board minutes as graduates of our Grad Alliance program.
Yeah, so we're excited to announce that we have 6 graduates from our Graduation Alliance program, which is we partnered with as a district. We have Fred Puckett, who graduated this year, Nathaniel Scott, Dina Nash, Owen Trudell, Tanner DeMarco, and Andrew Newman. So all 6 of them completed the requirements through Grad Alliance to receive their diplomas. They were all invited tonight, however, they weren't able to be here, but they will receive their diplomas when they are sent off, so pick those up. So, in addition to that, I want to just take a moment to welcome Erin McLeod, who is our recovery coordinator, who was able to start last week, Wednesday. It was her first day with the district. So Ms. McLeod comes to us. She actually wrote a little intro, so I will take the opportunity to read it to you briefly. Erin says that I received a bachelor's degree from Michigan State University in addition to my master's degree in social work from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. She's been working as a clinical social worker since 2007. The majority of her work experience has been working in a variety of roles within the community mental health system in Oakland County. She has also worked as a psychiatric social worker in a hospital emergency department setting. Most recently, she worked as an outpatient therapist for 7 years, working with a trauma-informed framework. She has experience working with both adults and children, struggling with a wide variety of mental health diagnoses. She was trained to provide trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy with children, and also has experience with suicidal screenings and crisis intervention practices. On a personal note, she wanted me to share, she is an Oxford resident, has a child enrolled in Oxford Community Schools, and she cares about this community and is so excited to be a part of the dedicated team of mental health professionals at the high school. So That is Erin McLeod, and I'm sure you will all get the opportunity to meet her at some point in the near future. She's had a very busy few days. She actually jumped right in at Oakland Schools with some trauma-informed training through Star Commonwealth last Thursday. She was with Allie Hearn with our building level teams. Last week as well, she did a half a day with them and then spent a half day with our building teams in the morning learning about PBIS. So yeah, learning the school organization and our systems. She's diving right in and jumping in with learning all of our acronyms and whatnot. In addition to that, I wanted to give a brief update. We do have a new partnership, which I shared with you guys previously, with Better Life Counseling, which is a mental health clinic out of Clarkston. They are providing, virtually our MOUs are just like what we have with Easter Seals that we've had for a number of years, but they've just expanded our mental health services to our students and our families. We started out with integrating their services at the high school with our 11th and 12th grade teams. We had our SRT teams at the high school really focus on their students that they've been monitoring throughout the year that might benefit and offering those services to them first. I consulted with our FSLs. They made personal phone calls to each of those families to see if they were in need of any outpatient clinical services. And then we opened that up, expanded that to our 9th and 10th grade students. Dacia sent a communication out to families. You guys had asked when I mentioned this previously, if families would be able to refer, if we didn't identify their kids, but they saw a need. So we sent out communication this week so families could make referrals directly to Better Life Counseling and receive services through Peter Brown, who is a clinician who's working and serving our high school students. We did receive a large response initially, and we anticipated it would take a little while at the end of the school year to build a caseload for Peter. So in the meantime, we expanded the services to the middle school. So we have 8th graders who are getting the opportunity to see Peter and assist them with their transition to the high school next year as 9th graders, to assist with a successful transition for some of those kids that we've just been supporting as 8th graders and realize that they might need a little extra support, and Better Life Counseling might be the answer to their success next year as freshmen at our high school. So, any questions?
What's going to happen over the summer with Aaron and Peter and all of the kids that maybe are on their caseload?
Erin actually follows the same schedule that we had set up as a recovery coordinator, so she follows a teacher schedule with 10 days added, so she will be able to participate in training and professional development over the summer with those 10 days. However, Peter and Andrew, both Better Life Counseling and Easter Seals, do offer continuum of services over the summer in district for our students. So it is up to the students and their families whether they choose to participate in that summer opportunity, but yeah, they have the opportunity to continue their services through the summer.
Great. Any other questions from board members? I appreciate the update, Todd. Thank you so much. All right.
That's the end of my report.
All right, going on to Board of Education matters. The first thing we had, if you recall, Mrs. Brown came and presented the OHS Improv Leadership Field Trip for next November for us to make a motion and vote on this evening. So if I have someone willing to make a motion, Amanda?
Move to approve the OHS Improv Leadership Mentorship Field Trip November 7th through 10th, 2024 to Pigeon Forge, Kentucky as presented.
Do I have support? Colleen?
Support.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, in addition, in your packet, you saw there are 2 more field trip requests that I'm assuming we'll vote on at the next meeting. One of them I feel like is really close though, the Loft field trip. Right? Our next meeting is.
Yeah.
So let's take a peek real quick at that one, because I feel like that is super soon. And I'm a planner of a parent, and I don't think I'd want to wait till May 28th to find out if my kid can go. All right, so it's in your packet. Do you guys all have access to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give the old lady a minute, please.
Yeah, if you want to take a minute and review it. If you guys are comfortable voting on it tonight, I'll take a motion, but I just feel that with those dates, we probably need to vote on it tonight if possible. Yes, that would be great, Pam.
So I did tell Jamie that if she was going to book someplace, she needed to make sure there was a cancellation policy prior to you guys approving it. So the last students did present last year. They're going to talk about this end of the year field trip that they do. It's an opportunity for Jeannie to assess her students in daily living. So they are there, she's working with them on preparing food, independently washing their clothes, looking how they make their beds in the morning, navigating a new city. So they're hoping to take the train to Chicago and stay 2 nights. Only 8 of the students would be going with her and one of our district paraprofessionals, and the rest we would have a sub and maybe staying back in the building.
Do you know where they're staying?
At an Airbnb.
I was just saying, I think last year they got an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Or a VRBO.
In a little bit, I'll present, but they do have their own funding based on some of the work that they've been doing.
Right.
So just to give some background too, so they've been going and doing this for at least a couple of years, and it really brings them a lot of education and life skills, which is really what that program is all about, is providing them life skills and work opportunities and how to prepare for public situations, and it's been a great trip for them in the past, and they've really done a lot and had a little fun and gone to some things down in the Chicago area, and they've never had any problems.
Is there any questions from board members, or does anyone feel like they'd like to make a motion and we can have a discussion formally on it? Or?
Motion.
All right, Mary?
Move to approve the Oxford Loft field trip to Chicago, Illinois, June 4 through June 6, 2024, as presented.
Can I get a support? Heather? All right, any discussion?
So four parents, 8 kids, something like that?
Two
4
adults.
adults, sorry.
2 adults.
No parents, I don't think,
Oh, okay.
right?
2 adults and then 8 adult students as well.
Oh, okay.
I'm comfortable approving this, but could we just ask Jeannie to send us kind of a synopsis of it, the area that they're staying in, just general things?
Absolutely.
That would be-
And next year I would ask that it be presented sooner, so.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, and thank you.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You can let Jeannie know and then just have her send the follow-up to us. Thank you. All right, item D is the first reading of the Troon Policy Series, 1,000 through 3,000 board policies.
I guess so.
You've been very busy.
I said, wow.
Impressive.
I don't know if Amanda or Mary James want to say something before we make the motion, or want to make the motion first.
Oh, she can do it all.
Yep, it's been a lot. Vicki has been thoroughly enjoying the hours with me on policy. So we've gone through 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000, both Vicki and I, and then also through policy committee. I am not going to go through individually all of these with you because none of us want to be here until midnight, but you all have it in the board packet, so I will entertain any questions if you had them at this point, but just as a reference, so this will be the first reading of these series. We will do another first reading for 4,000 and another for 5,000, and then at the end of June, bring them all back for second reading and adoption. So there is time, but if you've already gone through all of these with a fine-tooth comb like I have, I'm sure, you can ask any questions. And I will also note that on here, there is one that we have held. It's 3105. We need additional clarification on a couple of things with that policy, but every other policy has gone through Troon. We've received legal opinions on any questions that we've asked, and any changes that we've made have also been gone through Troon to this point.
All right. I would like to make a motion.
I can go. I'm not reading all of these, but we discussed this. It is perfectly allowable. That I move to approve the first reading of all policies in Series 1000, 2000, and 3000, except for Policy 3105.
Can I get a support? James? Any discussion?
So what is policy 3105? You know, do you kind of know what was the issue with that?
It is smoking tobacco and alcohol on school premises, and we just need to clarify some of the word changing that we're putting in that with Troon.
Any other discussion? I want to thank you guys for the enormous amount of work. I know this is a humongous undertaking to change policy vendors and to review it all to make it match our district, so thank you for that.
I also just need to add a thank you into this discussion to those administrators sitting out there, my cabinet, and some that aren't even sitting out there yet, as people who have, and Courtney on the budget side, people who have gone through these and helped clarify what is current practice, clarify how does this compare to our old policies, and then recommend changes to our committee, and then also getting themselves prepared to do all the AGs and forms and other things that will come this summer. So thank you.
Yeah, team effort. I think the Troon policies are a lot clearer as I was reading through them. I think both from a board member perspective, staff perspective, and a parent perspective, I think it's just easier to read. So, all right, any other discussion points? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda is the superintendent contract. All of you received a copy of that for Dr. Tanya Milligan. So if I could get a motion. James?
Move to approve the superintendent contract for Dr. Tanya Milligan as presented.
Support. Heather? Any discussion? None? All right, roll call vote, James.
Whitney?
Yes.
Summers, yes. Hanser?
Yes.
McDonough?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Schaefer?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes. All right, move to approve. I have a little statement I'll read about her because I think there's some important details in that contract that I don't know if folks have got pinned when they saw it, but we're thrilled to share the news that Dr. Tanya Milligan, our newly appointed superintendent, is eager to hit the ground running and has worked out arrangements to begin her tenure earlier than expected. Tonight, the school board approved her request to officially start leading the district on June 10th, 3 weeks ahead of the original schedule. This early start underscores Dr. Milligan's enthusiasm and dedication to the Oxford community and its educational mission. Her energy and vision to begin a new chapter for our district, one filled with growth, rebuilding, and a focus on high standards of student achievement. As we embark on this journey, we also want to take a moment to express our deep gratitude to Dr. Markovich for her leadership and willingness to take the helm during an incredibly challenging period in our district's history. Her experience and dedication during difficult times has been invaluable, and we wish her the best as her re-entry into retirement. Looking forward to Dr. Milligan leading the way, we eagerly anticipate building upon the strengths of our district, the amazing people to do work collaboratively with towards achieving a brighter future for our students, staff, and the entire Oxford community. And then we'll send that out to families who don't watch board meetings or attend. So, thank you guys for all of your work during the superintendent search. It was grueling, and it was a lot of time away from our own personal lives and work and families, so thank you. All right, item F on the agenda is the Oxford Schools Intermediate School District, or ISD, board election. To consider a resolution for Oakland Schools, ISD election candidates Carol Finkenstein, Charlie Gandy Thompson, Mark Katz, W. Samino Scott, and I think that's it. Yeah, okay. And we don't vote on that until the next one. It's just for you to consider. Any questions on that? The election time frame is in the packet. Do you have a comment, Mary?
Yes, I will just let everybody know. I think everybody got an email of a link to the candidate forum that the OCSBA put on at Oakland Schools Charlie Gandy Thompson was not available, but the other three did participate, so you can listen to what the candidates have to say. This is for the Oakland Schools Board. That's our, as was mentioned, that's our ISD. There are two. That is correct. We will need to move forward on a resolution at our next meeting because the ballots are due at the election. It's at the beginning of June. As a part, just also as a side, in your packet is the resolution. When I had talked to Kelly about it, I am already going to be there. I am on the board of directors for OCSBA. If anybody else is interested in being the designate, you are welcome to do that. But just so you know, I will already be there helping out. So I am willing to be the designate, and that would be just to bring the ballot in. You don't have to stay. You can just come in and drop off your ballot, but if there happened to be a tie, then there would be a vote right there on premise that night to choose the people to be elected. So that would be the benefit of staying there, just an FYI.
The other item from Oakland Schools is the resolution for the budget. You guys got it in your packet. It's quite thick, so take some time to peek over it. There is a memo attached to it, executive summary, to kind of go over what it is that Oakland Schools is projecting to spend. If you have any specific questions, you can shoot them to Mary or myself from the Finance Committee. We're happy to take those up to Oakland Schools as well to get any clarifications on items that are in the Oakland Schools budget. You're also free to reach out on your own, but include us all if you do that so we get a response and we understand your questions, if you don't mind. Any other questions or thoughts about ISD budget? It's that time of year.
I will add there's a couple of interesting things going on in Oakland Schools. One of which, there's two actually residency programs. They're finding in the districts here in Oakland County that we know we have a shortage of teachers coming up in the pipeline. There's also a shortage of business officials coming up through the pipeline. So part of next year's budget is a business office residency program and a human resources residency program, where the students in this program will get an opportunity to work with all of the districts in Oakland County to learn about the business practices, go through some specialized training. These are people who already would have master's degrees to start with, but people who are interested in working in education. So that's one of the interesting things that they are doing.
Awesome. Good. All right. If there's no further questions, we'll move on to Pam Beal for special education presentation. It's all right, I like it.
Thank you for having me. My name is Pam Beal. I'm the Executive Director of Special Education. And as you know, special education is complex and vast, so I really tried to tailor this presentation to the questions and comments that you guys provided to me. So thank you for responding to my email and letting me know what you want to hear about, learn more about, and have concerns about. So Anita, with Dr. Milligan starting soon, Anita had all of us create our org chart, so I wanted to present that to you just so you can see sort of what is in my purview. I do have some administrative staff, a data specialist and an admin assistant. I also oversee district-wide teaching in special education, so across the district we have resource rooms, self-contained rooms, our early on, which is our birth to 3 population, our early childhood special ed, which is our special education preschool program, and then our adult transition program, which is the 18 to 26-year-olds. I also have in my department our ancillary staff, our school psychologists, social workers, speech and language pathologists, and teacher consultants across the district. Additionally, I have contracted staff, so we do contract out our occupational therapists and our physical therapists. Within the department, we also have many different special education peer professionals throughout the buildings at all levels. And then I'm also serving as the district Section 504 coordinator for all buildings. Students who are registered homeschool through the Michigan Department of Education who are special education eligible are also eligible for services through Oxford Community Schools through what's called a non-public service plan. So I do provide services to those students as well. I coordinate and provide funding for the materials and trainers for our non-violent crisis intervention. This is helping staff to de-escalate situations where a student might be escalated. And then also, if an emergency situation were to arise, the appropriate way to restrain and seclude students. And again, it's only in emergencies, but we do have training specific so that we are not harming the students in any way. And then homebound services, so students who are homebound or hospitalized in our district, we do have to provide services to them. I was already doing it for our special education students, and I was familiar with the process, so I also have taken over any homebound or hospitalized general education students as well. Colleen asked some questions about funding, so thank you, Courtney, for letting me bug you and get all these numbers. But as you can see here, majority of special education funding does come from state aid. So within that state aid, there's a couple different sections, and I didn't go too deep into that, but if you're interested, I can. Section 51C, 53A, Act 18. But for the most part, as you can see there, special education is not fully funded. We're about 84% funded, so 16% is coming out of that general fund. This is for fiscal year 23. So I have that asterisk because included in that is some of that ESSER 11T money. And as you know, those grants are sunsetting next year, so that money will. We do have some special education staff sitting within that 11T money that will be absorbed into the already isn't considered in the general fund, but will be absorbed. Colleen also had a question about schools of choice. This is very complex, so I'm going to do my best to answer it in a way that's understandable. But again, if you have any further questions, please let me know. 105 students, so school of choice students within Oakland County who are eligible for special education services, the funding goes with them. So we accept all students, and the funding, the state funding is filtered through the county. Where it gets complicated is that students who are out of county who receive special education services, the funding does not follow the student. So we must reach out to that resident district, out-of-county resident district, on a cost share agreement. If the student enrolls with us as a general education student, we suspect a disability, we evaluate them, and they are now special education eligible. We are what Oakland Schools calls the Stuckey, so I reach out to the resident district, and Oxford does bear all added costs for special education for those students because they're already in. For a student coming from out of county that already has an IEP, prior to enrollment, I have to get that agreement with the resident district prior to enrolling. So Oxford practiced based on an OCR complaint a few years ago, which everything was fine. But in good faith effort, we do have to try to negotiate. So I always offer to split the cost of the added special education services infrequently, and at this moment, 0 districts have agreed to that because they can provide the services in their resident district. So unfortunately, at that point, we do deny enrollment into Oxford schools. I know that's complicated, so if you have more questions about that, please let me know.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask for clarification. So if I heard you and understood correctly, if they come in as from out of the county as general education and then they qualify for special education services, do we reach out for that 505 or 105C agreement? And if they don't give it, we absorb the cost of that and continue, or do we send them back?
So the law changed a few years ago that we have to have a 105C agreement at that point. And If they're already ours and we don't reach an agreement with the resident district, there is a penalty to our grant funding. And it's
Okay.
pretty significant, upwards of $1 million some dollars. So you could call everybody's bluff, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be our responsibility. So for those students, I do reach out and I say Oxford will bear all costs.
Okay, so we're absorbing the cost, so then that's taken away from, okay, that's what I was trying to make sure I understood that. All right.
So a couple questions were asked about some general processes, and I just wanted to share with you my special education parent handbook. And I won't go into tonight, but I did put it in the board packet, the section 504 protocols of practice as well. I created both of these documents and they're updated in the summer, every summer, to ensure that they are still up to date. Both of these serve as a resource for families at any stage of the process. And I encourage district teams at the onset of an initial IEP or evaluation to present a physical copy of these to the family. So this is the parent handbook. Again, it has all 24 pages of all the different pieces of special education and presented in a family-friendly, understandable way, I hope. But I would always appreciate feedback if something doesn't make sense. So I will say that Amanda asked a question about the reevaluation process. So at an initial IEP, our teams should be communicating that while an annual IEP is held every year, every 3 years, we do have to look at whether or not the student continues to qualify under any of the 13 eligibility areas. So this visual helps families to see that once we get to evaluation, IEP, annual, there's a 3-year pause here before we get to the reevaluation. And if they continue to be eligible, the circle just starts over. I think you also had a question, Amanda, about, I memorized your questions. The IEP team. So who's on an IEP team? And that will look different based on the student's needs, but this is a great visual for families to see if I have a social worker there or if I have an occupational therapist there, what does that mean and why are they there? And that just goes on to kind of explain the different services within Oxford, and that will be changing this summer, and I'll explain that in a minute, but feel free to look at that, and if you have questions, please let me know. There were some questions about IDEA or IEPs versus 504s, so I just wanted to briefly outline some of the key differences. The purpose of IDEA is to ensure free and appropriate public education for students who require special education, and the purpose of Section 504 is to prevent discrimination. So IDEA, we do receive funding for special education, and we do not receive any funding for Section 504. In terms of being eligible for special education, there are 13 qualifying areas. To be eligible under Section 504, the student has to have or be regarded as having a physical or mental impairment, which substantially limits one or more major life activities, and they need accommodations. So when we're looking at those related plans, IDEA is IEP with specialized instruction, and Section 504 is a 504 plan with access to accommodations. We love our acronyms, and LRE is one. LRE stands for the least restrictive environment. This means that we are research supports and we are trying to educate our students with disabilities to the maximum extent possible with non-disabled peers. So as you can see here, the least restrictive environment would be in the regular general education classroom, and as we add services, that student's educational program becomes more restricted, and there should be less students getting that more restrictive placement. So this visual will help us as I move through some of the next slides. Every year, Open Schools provides all districts within Oakland County with this data portfolio. And it shows trends over the years, and it looks at several different things. I picked out a few for tonight, but if you ever want to see the whole packet, I'm happy to share that with you as well. When Open Schools presents this to us, it's at a director's meeting, so we all have the opportunity to look at our data together, to identify trends, and kind of look at what needs we have in our district, and then what needs there are in the county. So this is Oxford's LRE, Research-Driven Environment Trend. The ideal, perfect world would be 80% or more of our students with disabilities are in their general education classrooms 80% or more of the time. However, the MDE monitors us. So while that's ideal, what MDE is looking for us to do to be compliant is greater than 70% of our students in Gen Ed, 80% or more, less than 9.9 in Gen Ed, 40% or less, and then less than about 5 in separate facilities. So as you can see, we're definitely meeting the MDE monitoring target, and we have for quite some time. We're sitting right at that ideal mark. So we're always looking for ways to improve our inclusive practices and make sure that our students have opportunities to be educated with their non-disabled peers. This is our special education identification rate over the past 5 years. So it has gradually increased over the past 3 years with a big jump, really aligned with that pandemic year. But we are still below the identification rates for Oakland County and statewide. This is a disability snapshot of, again, Oxford, Oakland County, and state. This is just data that we look at to kind of improve our own practices, improve our evaluation practices, look at what could we be doing at our intervention or tier 1 and tier 2 level. So looking at our data compared to state data, there are a couple areas that might jump out to you, and it doesn't jump out to me necessarily as an area of concern, more of an area of wondering and where could we dig in and look deeper. And the most obvious one is that we are identifying students as emotionally impaired at a higher rate than the county and the state. So that's something that our teams look at, and should we be looking at practices, should we be looking at behavior intervention earlier, things like that. This data just kind of helps guide programming moving forward. Amanda asked about state complaints. So a state complaint can be filed on behalf of an individual. So this does not have to be the family or the student filing the complaint. It can be somebody who attended the IEP or knows about the situation and has concern that there's a system-wide concern and that the school has violated some portion of IDEA, the Michigan Administrative Rules for Special Ed, or the school code. And so this goes through a whole process where a administrative law judge would make a decision as to whether or not the district had a compliance finding. So as you can see at the top there, that's the number of state complaints over the past 5 years in Oakland County, the number of state complaints with findings. That's where that ALJ said that the school did something and they need to correct it. And then down there you can see that Oxford hasn't had a state complaint case since 2018, 2019. Due process, while state complaints anybody can file, due process is filed by a student or a family alleging that there was a violation, and it helps to resolve a disagreement, whether it's about the services provided or eligibility, and manifestation, termination reviews, things like that. So again, you have the due process hearings in Oakland County, the number that have had findings, and then at the bottom there, Oxford due process cases. We haven't had any since the 2018-2019 school year. There was a question about our move-ups or our transition years. So we tried to have a heavy focus on this school year, looking at our ECSE to elementary schools, so our special ed preschool moving to elementaries, our elementary students moving to middle, and then our middle school students moving to high school. So new this year, I finished up last night presenting to all of the families of these groups and giving them a synopsis overview of what special education looks like at the next level, and an opportunity for them to ask questions. We did videotape the middle school one, which was sent out, so now I'm working on, just for families that couldn't attend, the high school presentation and then the ECSE presentation that was last night. I'll send those out to families as well. Each student has an individual move-up meeting, and sometimes we have to conduct a whole new IEP or amend the IEP to reflect services at the new building. For the elementary level, my teams have done such a great job of creating social stories of the buildings. So if I'm in Megan's program at Leonard and I'm slotted to go to Lakeville next year, over the summer the family will have a book of pictures of Lakeville. Here's the door, here's where I'm gonna eat lunch, here's my classroom, just to better prepare them for being in the building. Our sending and receiving teams meet right about now to kind of talk about students, which students have healthcare needs, which students are on behavior plans, so that we can be familiar day one when they come in. And then my teacher consultants do come back a few days early in August so that we can hold individual tours and meet with families if needed. There's definitely some areas for growth within our transition activities, so I just wanted to let you know that one of the things that was really evident this school year is that our families don't often know who's working with their student and what their role is and what their contact information is. So we're going to do some ID cards or team ID cards starting next school year, where the family will be made aware of a picture of their service providers, what their role is, and then what's their contact information. And we really want to make sure we're contacting and connecting with families early so that they know what a typical day looks like for their students. So that's definitely an area of growth that I've heard this year, that we need to be a little bit more explicit about what our kids are doing throughout the day. You all just received an email about some elementary changes to special education, so we're working through that now. Over the past few years, the number of our students requiring some more intensive level support has increased. And we've needed to, especially in the eligibility area of autism spectrum disorder, so we have needed to open up for next school year a third autism classroom within the district. Right now, and I say that because there are caseload limits set by state and federal regulations, and there are no more waivers to exceed that. So prior years, if there was, for ASC classrooms at 6 students, I could apply for a waiver to the state to add 1 or 2 students, and the state has done away with that. So 6 is the number, and so we have had to open up different programs. And right now, all of our programs are housed at either Lakeville or Clear Lake. So we were faced with, we need to open another program and limited space, and they're all located in 2 spots. So where we landed, and we worked with principals, and now we're working with teams, is we are distributing a self-contained program in each elementary building. So we're really hoping that this is equitable with our support team, equitable with our principals, helping to manage behaviors and helping to support those students, but most importantly, I think it's going to provide us better opportunities for inclusion. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. And our principals have really jumped on board, and our teams are really excited. Secondary changes for next year. So I know you've heard Deisha talk about our Student Success Program at Oxford High School. We are going to add one at Oxford Middle School. So very similar. It's this bridge between like a study skills class and elementary resource room where the students will have the opportunity to have a home base throughout the school day. And we found that that has really been missing at the secondary level, and our student success program at the high school it's really taken off and provided a good, calm, focused space for some of our students that really struggle, especially with social emotional concerns. So we're adding that at the middle school, and we have space for that with Bridges moving to Drainer, so that's exciting. And at the high school level, I'm going to be coming back to you with the course catalog to add some classes to the student success program. Growth is not linear, and it can't always be measured by achievement. So we knew creating this program last year, our goal was to get kids in the building because we had a lot of students who couldn't even enter the building. So the kids are coming, and we're celebrating that, and they're there. Our next step is getting them to class more. And some of them can, and some of them are working through it. So what we're hoping to do is add some direct instruction classes within that program that through personal curriculum would count for high school credit, just because they need to be there, and it's really hard to be out in the hallways. So that will be coming to you soon. And I can fill you in on anything else, or if you have questions, please feel free. And then also with personal curriculums and students with IEPs, we are able to adjust or modify the MMC requirements for students to get a high school diploma, but it must align with their post-secondary goals. So we have students who are very much interested in welding or very much interested in entering food service. So what we can do is we can substitute food service courses or welding courses or marketing courses with things like world history, where the students typically struggle. There's some caveats to that, but we always talk to the families ahead of time. And OLA, partnering with OLA has been so fantastic in this because their course catalog is so vast that if we can pinpoint a student's interest, they can take online classes that align with post-secondary, and we can get them diplomas instead of having them be on a certificate of completion. Having said that, a lot of our students are not online learners. So we're trying to figure out how we can customize their education, but also provide them that support to an online class. And what that looks like is an online lab. So you're coming to the high school, but you're doing your online classes in this online lab. And we really want to have a certified special ed teacher providing that, and we want to call it digital co-teaching. So being able to have students set goals for the day, keep pace, ask questions as they progress through their online classes. And what we found with the Student Success Program this year is about half of the students that come down there are coming down there to work on their online classes. So we know it's working. That's what we're doing next year. And then Loft has their own catering business. They have provided, they are providing lunch for almost all open schools, trainings and conferences, which is really cool. So moving to Loft they're moving to Drainer next year. They have an industrial kitchen, and they're really going to be able to expand their business there. And then just because she's here tonight, our Loft also partners with Oxford Open Handed, which is the clothing donation organization started by one of my special education teachers, Leanne Heller here, and her family. And she's raising wonderful boys who, one of her sons right now is subbing in a special education classroom. He just graduated from MSU, so they're trying to snag him too. But yeah, our students are going there, they are sorting clothes, they're putting clothes on racks, they're helping shoppers, so really working on job skills. Oh yes, an industrial laundry, they'll be able to wash the clothes as well. Just really great opportunities with us being able to move over there. And then there's a question about my PAC, which I'm so proud and honored to be working with these two lovely ladies. Emily's here tonight, but I also have Megan Eller and Emily Lesnow. They are my parent advisory committee, They sent me this, this selfie from one of their open schools nights.
Holding loft treats.
Oh yes, the loft made those treats too, for the event. So the PAC, this flow chart here was presented by Open Schools PAC, but there was a question about how do I bring up a concern and who do I go to first. So I put that in there because that really was PAC led. But our OPAC here does manage social media group where they have no affiliation with the district. They don't tell me what's on it, and I don't go on there. But it's a virtual space for them to support each other, to ask questions, and to get advice. And then also Megan and Emily have both provided their email addresses on our district website. So if any families who are looking just for some advice, their doors are open and they're always willing to talk. My PAC reps attend monthly meetings at open schools. They also meet with me monthly. This school year, there was a first day of school coffee, so drop your kid off at school, come meet us up for coffee. Emily started a special education caregivers meetup night, so they meet the first Tuesday of every month at Grab Cat from 6 to 8. And those numbers are increasing. I think people just want to come and talk and get support from one another. Like I said, they manage the social media group. They're doing their own advocacy work through Michigan Alliance for Families and other organizations. They have really lofty goals of community outreach and partnership with different businesses within the community for moving forward. And what we're really excited about this school year is our CARES Awards. So I don't know if you're familiar with Rochester, their event is much bigger, and this is our first year, but they do Sparkle Awards, and it is a way to honor special educators and service to students with disabilities. So we put out nominations this year. And we had 50 nominations of staff and students. We will be acknowledging them for their outstanding service to our students with disabilities throughout the district. And we'll have that event next week. And that will be at Summer Lake, and I provided that invitation to you guys if we'd love to have you. So before I just close out with questions, I did want to, Amanda had asked about the PIRA handbook. So I just wanted to give an update on that, and that I've had the opportunity to have more FaceTime with them this year for training. And I've had the opportunity to partner with them and ask, what do you wish you knew prior to starting this job, and what do you still not know that you need to know? So I have that feedback, I have the skeleton, and I'm thrilled that we're switching to Trim. Also, we'll about that. But with those policies, I want to make sure they align to what we're saying in the PIRA handbook. So I'll be working on that this summer, partnering with, there wasn't a post for president for a while, but now they do have a president, and she's been great. And I want to make sure that she has input into this as well. And I think that's it, unless you guys have questions.
I do have a couple. Wow, that was really informative and thorough, and I appreciate your attention to detail on all that. And also, don't second guess that parent handbook. It's incredible. I think every parent, whether they're a special ed parent or not, should read it. It is so informative, and you laid it out very well, so thank you for that. It's available on the website for everybody. I did have one question on the least restrictive environment trend. Could you just clarify what's in that other category? Would that be homebound or other?
Yes, that would be homebound.
Okay, thank you.
Or residential settings.
Okay. And then on the disability snapshot, you already pointed it out. It really stood out to me as well, the emotional impairment numbers. Do you happen to know if this were the case, that it was double 5 years ago, or is this really related to, COVID tragedy, Oxford specific type of things?
I would want to dig further before I answer that question. I think that we've responded to to behavior with tiered supports at tier 1 and tier 2. But for our students whose behavior is significant and intense, I think at that point the next step is special education. And sometimes it feels like the only step. So that is just a data point that we can look at our practices and maybe doing more on the gen ed side prior to evaluating. But then also I want to look at how are we determining that a student is eligible for emotional impairment, and kind of looking at should we be doing that differently as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Last quick thing, for the reevaluation every 3 years, what is the mechanism in place for ensuring that that happens? Is that something that you keep record of and you get alerted if that does not happen with a student?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. What I can also show you that's part of that data portfolio is I do have other state monitoring targets that I need to go into the system and acknowledge. So timelines and dates is one of them, and the state expects 100% compliance. So if we're anywhere, if even one student is late, I do get a ding or a finding, and if it continues to happen year after year, then I would get a corrective action plan. So those things are monitored very closely.
Great. Thank you again so much. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation, Pam. That was really helpful. And I know you and I sat down a couple years ago and went through some of those materials, and it's quite overwhelming, but you've done a great job laying things out for folks and putting it all out. I appreciate it. I wanted to say congratulations to the LOFT team for working with Oxford Open Handed and their award from Oxford Anderson Youth Assistance. So congrats to them for their great work. Yeah, thanks.
I thought I had hands down here. Colleen?
Sure. Thanks, Pam, for a great presentation, and thanks for being such a great advocate for kids, always. And I appreciate the hard work that it probably took to get the self-contained classrooms in all the buildings. And I think it's a great thing for the Gen Ed pop, so that's great.
James?
So first of all, personal experience, special education sometimes becomes, clouded and mystified. So I appreciate you working on the demystification of it. Those handbooks that you did, do those go out to people that qualify for the IEPs and 504s every year, or is it just something that's out there? I guess I'm looking, are we proactively handing it out to parents? Because I know people come to me asking questions and stuff, and it would be a great resource, not that I can direct them to the website, but as they start, their child becomes part of the process, whether IEP or 504, that they get those ahead of time. Is that the plan for those?
Yes, so I do ask that at initial IEP, my teams do present a physical copy to the family, so much so that they've asked if we could make the colored copies because it's precious in their buildings, the color ink. But that's the expectation. I can't guarantee that it happens every time, so I do ask, that our PAC frequently advertises that on Facebook as well, and things like that. Just know that you can go to the website, you can go to the special ed page on the website, and both documents are there. But yeah, the intention would be for them to receive that at their initial IEP.
I'd like to see more purposeful action of that, of not, we hope that happens, but that actually does happen with that, as well as maybe some building level context that added to it, supplemental inside of it. And then Amanda brought up around the compliance. How are we on our compliance with our IEPs across the district?
So, that question.
Sorry.
You're okay. Where we got a data alert was timely IEPs, and that data is 2 years old. So I think we had 6 late IEPs. So I was not issued a corrective action plan, but did speak with staff and provide some additional training about the importance of making sure our IEPs are done timely.
Okay. Is there an oversight mechanism that we currently have in the district for that, for compliance with that?
Yeah, well, my data specialist does monitor that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, snow days complicate things sometimes, so that's why I say try to hold 11-month IEPs, but you never know if there's going to be a snow day and you have your IEP scheduled and it's due, and now you can't get people to
Yeah, segueing on that, how, as far as the IEP, I mean, it requires the parents, correct? And so do we, are there situations where we have difficulty getting the parents to engage in that process? And how do we manage that as far as remaining compliant and, yeah.
Yeah, so we do have to stick to the date. So the rule of thumb really is 3 contacts, 3 different ways. So phone, mail, email, and if we still can't get a hold of the parent, we have to provide notice, formal notice that we will hold the meeting.
Okay.
And if they don't attend, we do document it, and then we continue to reach out, because once we hold it within that time frame, it can be held again. We can meet again, we can amend it again. So a lot of the times, if we haven't heard back, we're going to hold the meeting. However, you can come in any time, we'll review, we'll amend, but we do have to hold it by this date. Yeah.
Yeah. Just back to the disability snapshot. How is that data collected? Is it the exact same metric across all the schools? Like, do you know how they're getting that data? Is it the exact same metric across all schools in the state of Michigan and their Oakland County?
There's 13 eligibility categories for special education, and they are all here. So when a student is eligible, the IEP comes to my data specialist, and she has to enter that into the MSDS, the state monitor, or the Michigan school data system. So that's how all of that information is collected, and then Oakland Schools for us, they pull all of that out and put it in the state of these charts for us, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to think from a data standpoint, if other schools aren't looking for emotional, like maybe that could factor into the discrepancy as well, right? So, okay.
Or something we can consider, do they have more stringent norms for qualifying a student?
And then last, I think, as far as the elementary school self-contained program, do you know what main factors drove them having just here in Clear Lake? Was it just happened to be the specialists there, or kind of what were the main factors that drove it in the first place to have them split like that? And I was curious why we did what we were doing up until this point.
I'm going to say something that I hate saying, but it's the way it's always been done. So honestly, since I've been here in 2012, that's just how it's been. But we've noticed, we added an emotional impairment classroom this school year, and due to the location, which building has space for it, it landed at Clear Lake. But what we're finding is that now Clear Lake and Lakeville do have a lot of need, and how can we make that more equitable across the district? So that was the driving decision.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Pam, thank you for a great presentation and peppered with all of our comments. And Emily, thank you. I do see your posts online. As a parent of a special ed student, it's incredibly helpful that the amount of communication that does occur, not only through our parent group, but through Pam's office and through the teachers, is actually quite remarkable to previous districts that my students had been in. And I think that's a lens that I think not as many people appreciate that they should, that we do have a really great system here, and it's due to staff and parents who are very engaged, and teachers. So, thank you. All right, moving on to item number 10, Ryan Reed and the West Michigan Health Insurance Pool presentation.
Good evening, Board of Education and all of our families listening at home. I'm Ryan Reed, I'm the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, and with me this evening is Melissa Cavalick. She is with Gallagher, our insurance consultant. So Melissa, thank you so much for being here. She is here for our questions at the end, should you have them. We have a few slides to go through with you this evening, just a couple more slides, about some important changes that we are making to our health insurance programming for the 24-25 open enrollment season. So I will tell you, I want to start with the why we are here evaluating the pool and moving forward. In our collective bargaining agreements with the OEA, OESPA, Support Staff Union, and AFSCME, there is language in the contract that states if renewals come back over 10% for 2 consecutive years, we agree to look for alternative options. And we have had renewals over 10% both last year and this year through our insurance program with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. So that spurred us to get with our consultants at Gallagher and look for other options. And we have a really great option with the Western Michigan Health Insurance Pool. So this is a slide about the pool. It was formed in 2005 by public employers looking to really reduce the cost of health insurance. So here is the pool's mission. They're member focused. They focus on value and trust. I will not read this one to you, but I just want to give you an idea of the pool as an organization. Here's an overview of how large the pool has grown. In 2005, I believe they started with 7 or 8 school districts. And now you can see they have 102 school districts, 39 municipal entities, and 77 community colleges. So over 37,000 folks in their insurance pool. If you look at the Michigan icon on the bottom, in light purple are counties where the pool represents one of those 3 groups. Dark purple, those are counties they've not entered yet. I want to talk about sustainability. This is something the pool offers that we've not seen in the last couple of years with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. There are many additional fees that are added in for retention and pooling with the fully insured program through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. And the pool has run consistently under the industry average for health renewal increase. So looking at this option really offers sustainability for us as a district to keep costs low, which in turn keeps costs low not just for the district but for our employees. This is a quick snapshot of pool membership throughout the state. You can see Oakland County, they have 50th District Court, Ferndale Public Schools, Huron Valley Schools, and Oakland Community College. This is a snapshot at a glance of the renewal gross cost summary. I want to take you through this very quickly here. If you look on, let me see, your left, we'll start with the plans. And you can see that we are currently offering 4 plans, and then 2 of those plans are collapsing into one with the pool, and we have a new offering. You can look through the renewal. When we see our current annual cost, we're at $6.2 million. The renewal here in the middle, no changes, would be staying with Blue Cross Blue Shield and not moving to the pool. We are coming in at just over $7 million, an increase of $781,000 or 12.5%. And with the pool, we're coming in at 6.5, so a significant reduction in cost over what we would be paying if we stayed, directly with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. I want to mention that the products the pool is, the products we are offering to our employees through the pool are still Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan products. So it is fantastic. Our folks are all very familiar with that, and a great value add is that all of the plans are PPO options. Currently, we're offering 3 HMO options, which requires the extra step of getting a referral, and that will be removed with these 4 PPO options. So I will open it up to questions from the board at this time.
I guess I'll go ahead and start. Were there any significant formulary changes that will affect any of our current staff right now?
No, we did a formulary disruption analysis, and it was about 2% that we saw. There were 17 medications resulting in 44 scripts that are currently not on your formulary today, and they're not on the formulary with the pool. What that means is those prescriptions likely have a prior authorization that's in place. The pool has already agreed that they'll honor that. That stays with the member. So if that prior authorization is in place for a 6-12-month period, that would follow them directly with the pool, so there'll be no disruption to those individuals.
Okay. And then it's Blue Cross Blue Shield or Blue Care Network?
All the pool plans are Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO options.
Okay, so it's the same, so no provider changes are anticipated within credentialing?
Correct.
Okay. Does the cost to the actual employees change significantly at all this year?
Yeah, so it actually does for a number of the plans. We offered a plan last year that was a high deductible plan at zero cost. So we had about 50 folks enroll in that plan. So their cost was zero last year, it'll still be zero this year. When we look at our lowest deductible plan that has a $500, $1,000 deductible, that plan is slightly increasing in cost because it is a true $500, $1,000 deductible. It's still lower than the renewal we received from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan for a BCN plan. For a family, I'll give you an idea, the rate under Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan would have been $280 per month for a family. And with the pool, that option will be $250 for a family. So it's still less than what we had. And then we have some fantastic news for about 50 folks who've been enrolled in our PPO option that we've offered consistently. That plan is very expensive. Those folks will see a huge reduction in cost, somewhere around $600 or more for a family. So that's huge for those 50 folks. And then we are also offering that plan, that PPO plan, the cost for that is going down to about $40 a month. And folks who are on a BCN option similar to that, they're currently paying $140 a month. And I'm talking in family terms, so it goes down for the tier of 2-person and single. So those folks are seeing a $100 decrease per month. And another great option that we are offering is a $1,000, $2,000 deductible plan. So it's not a high deductible plan. It will have the copay structure. That plan is at no cost to employees. So now we'll have 2 no-cost plans. I think that's huge for recruitment and retention of our staff, and we are pleased to have this option to be able to offer that to staff.
And then I'm assuming the union presidents have all seen
Yes.
all this as
So
well?
we've been very busy giving this presentation to all of our union groups. We met with Jim Gibbons and the CCC, his continuing contract committee. I've met with AFSCME and OSPA. And we also worked with our ed team at our last meeting to present to all of our district administrators. And we are on our second night of meetings. We kicked off last night with 2 meetings. We had a virtual meeting today at 6:30 and one this morning at OBA, and we'll continue this week. Really, education is the most important part, so our folks feel informed as they make the decision, what plan to enroll in.
Great. Does anybody else have questions? Yeah, all good? All right. All right, so for board action, we need to move to adopt the resolution that was in the board packet. If someone would like to make that motion. Colleen?
Sure. Move to adopt the resolution authorizing public entity membership in the West Michigan Health Insurance Pool.
Do I have support? Mike? Any discussion? More than we've had? Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thanks, Ryan, for all your hard work, and thank you for coming out tonight and answering our questions. All right. Item number 11 on the agenda is Dr. Williman for the reappointment of Lighthouse. I think we had a memo in there for Mr. Reese. I remember appointing him not too long ago, I feel like.
He was appointed or called to serve on the board to fill a spot, but this is to approve him for a full term. Since taking on that role, he's been serving as president, so he's not only taken that opportunity to serve, but also to be able to lead. And so we bring you this nominee tonight.
Great. Someone like to make a motion? Mary?
Move to approve the reappointment of Mr. Walter Reese Sr. to the Lighthouse Connections Academy Board.
Support? Amanda? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, item number 12 on the agenda is unscheduled public comment. Do we have any cards, Kelly? All right, just a key point. We will start a 3-minute timer on the table. We'll have a green light. Looks like we have one. A green light while you're in your 3-minute period, then it will start flashing yellow, and then it will beep red when the time is done. And so we have Mr. Charles Turnenstorm tonight.
Thank you for having me. My name is Charles Charnstrom, and I have 2 daughters who graduated in 2021, and I have a son who is graduating in 2 days. And
congratulations.
What I'm about to say has been on my heart and my mind for quite a while, and as I tell my kids, it's never too late to do the right thing, so here I am. I'm essentially here to plead for the use of the pool. The high school pool, I feel, is severely underused. We moved here in 2015 from Minnesota, and it was a very small school district that we lived in, but everyone used the pool. Pretty much everyone in the community learned to swim at the pool. Any given Saturday or Sunday at noon, the pool was packed at Open Swim. And all the elementary kids from 3rd through 6th grade had a swimming unit where they would bus them over to the high school. And it was separated in 3 different groups: those that didn't know how to swim, those that were familiar with swimming, and those that consider themselves good swimmers. So everyone got to work on what they needed to work on. And it did so many great things, and I was shocked when I moved here. And I also have a swimming background. I was, I guess, a professional swimming coach back in Minnesota. I coached both high school teams, and I coached a couple of club teams, and I coached a master's team. So I was shocked that none of it was here, and you could go to 100 schools in Minnesota and you wouldn't see a pool like you have here at Oxford. It is an amazing facility, and it is dark all the time. It is such a shame. Now, I'm here essentially for the health, both physical and mental, of the students, and the safety, because I was fortunate to go to Florida for spring break, and I saw the joy in the kids' face at the hotel we stayed at. Pure joy, pure innocence. It was amazing to see. Kids flock to the water like it's their opportunity to fly, and that's exactly what they do. Doesn't matter the background. These kids are learning great things, and back in my day, my mom would tell me to go outside and play, and that would solve lots of problems. But now we tell our kids, go outside and play. It's just another venue for them to look at their phones. When they're at the pool, they cannot do that. They're physically anxious to go swimming. And the sad or the downside about swimming is that it is dangerous. While we were down there in Florida, someone died out in the water. And I want to, does anyone remember? Let's take 30 more seconds. LaFrance Marshall, does that name ring familiar to anyone? It was about 2 weeks from today, 6 years ago. He was a 16-year-old student who drowned 50 feet off the shore in Clear Lake, Oxford. He's out with his friends. 50 feet, that's less than the length of the pool. That will happen again. There is no doubt about it, because this community is not using that pool. You need to use that pool. You need to get kids active for their mental and health sake, and you need to get them safe by learning how to swim. I know that if he was in that elementary program, he would have learned how to float on his back. If he was in Open Swim, he would have been familiar with the water. LaFrance probably would have been graduating high school right now, or I'm sorry, he would have been graduating college. And it's just a lost opportunity. Every single year goes by, it's a lost opportunity that pool isn't being used for the health and the safety of our students. Thank you for your time, thank you for your consideration, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. All right. Amanda, you wanted to add something prior to closed session?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Erin. I just want to remind everyone to mark your calendars for June 18th. Justin's Nature Walk will take place on the Pollyant Trail. The walk begins at White Pine Coffee at noon. There will be an unveiling ceremony at 12:15. You can register on the Eventbrite page. All proceeds will benefit the For Love of Nature Fund, the Forever Justin Schilling Foundation. So please consider attending and showing community support for Justin's family and foundation. I really hope our community can exceed expectations on that. And another important date is June 20th. That is when donations will be closed for the grant match to Hannah's Garden. If $50,000 is raised by then, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation will match that amount. And as of last night, when I checked, they're about, excuse me, halfway there. So, and anyone able to spare a little, please consider doing so. Those that are unable, spreading the word helps tremendously. And the garden is set to be a beautiful memorial honoring Hannah, Madison, Justin, and Tate. So please consider donating.
Great. Thank you. All right. We will now be going to item number 13 on the agenda, which is closed session. So if someone would like to read the motion, and then we'll go into a roll call vote. So Heather?
Move to meet in closed session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, Section 8A, to consider a periodic personnel evaluation of an employee, and Section 8H, to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute, such as Section 13 of the Freedom of Information Act, which exempts from disclosure matters pertaining to the attorney-client privilege.
Can I get a support? James? Roll call vote?
Schaefer?
Yes.
Whitney?
Yes.
Summers? Yes. Hanser?
Yes.
McDonough?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes. All right, it is 8:16. We're heading into closed session, and we will return when we are done. All right, it's 9:30 p.m. We're returning from closed session. We do have one motion coming out of closed session. Amanda?
Motion to deny the FOIA appeal dated April 24th, 2024.
Can I get support? James? Any discussion? I think I'll just make a blanket statement that we charge for FOIAs, and that's what we're going to continue to do moving forward. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right, it is 9:31, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
You're welcome.